Okay, welcome back. I'm going to be finishing the second video in the AWS Pentest Lab. Hopefully you caught the first part. Thank you for coming. First of all, thank you for coming. I appreciate you watching this lab. I put a lot of work into it, so I hope you like it. My name is Jeff Jung. You can follow me at LinkedIn at that address, and you can follow me at Twitter at JeffJung14. I am a student. I'm taking classes in cybersecurity. I really like to learn, so that's why I'm in school. I have a background in sports, and I really like to hike and be outdoors, and I really like to make videos. So let's get into this second video of the series. So what is the agenda? What's going on? The whole entire series is about making an AWS instance and turning it into a lab that you can log into from a web browser and you can pen test on. But what we're doing is just how to install everything and set up from the back end, how you would set up a computer and all the different ways of installing the packages and the settings. In the first video, which is the last video, I went to AWS and I did a lot of configuring in the AWS dashboard, and I set up and launched an EC2 instance, and then I SSH'd into that instance and I obtained root. In this video, the second video, I'm going to be installing the dependencies on which the lab runs. So this lab is a web-based lab. So since everything is based off of the web, it needs to have the LAMP stack installed, which runs the lab portion. So we're just going to do the installation of the LAMP stack in this video. And then in the next video, it's going to be the installation of the lab applications. But this one's going to be pretty quick, so it's not too hard. This is probably the easiest to do out of all three videos, so you might like this part. The key takeaways from video number 2 is you're going to learn how to install the LAMP stack. If you've never done that before, you'll see the process of doing that. You're also going to learn how to go into the AWS dashboard, and you're going to learn how to open a port. So I guess it's kind of like a firewall is like built around the EC2 instance. And so you're going to have to open one of those ports to make it accessible. You're going to learn how to configure MySQL, and you'll also learn how to configure PHP. So these are the requirements for this lab. The Ubuntu instance is version 18.04. The Apache in the LAMP stack is 2.4.29. The MySQL is 5.7.31. The PHP is 7.2.24. And the DVWA, which is the lab portion, is 1.1. And Multiliday, which is another vulnerable lab, is 2.7.14. So now I want to kind of review what is an EC2 instance. So an EC2 instance is it's a computer that has been virtualized. So it's like like how you would run a virtual machine, if you know what a virtual machine is, on your local machine. But instead of running on the virtual machine, instead of the virtual machine running on your local machine, the virtual machine is running in the cloud on Amazon's servers, and then you access it through either the web or through SSH. So these EC2 instances are reliable because it's being hosted in these large data centers. They're scalable because Amazon lets you put more resources into these EC2 instances. It's infrastructure, meaning that you can build stuff around it and you can set certain controls and you can like direct traffic in a network. And it's on demand, so you can turn it on, you can turn it off, and it's just there when you need it. I want to go over this picture of what AWS looks like. So on the left hand side you have your devices, your computers, your cell phones, your tablets, and those are all connected to the internet. So the internet is kind of, just like a bunch of those devices all connected up. And then somewhere, like an offshoot of the internet, is AWS. So AWS is connected to the internet as well as all the devices. So AWS's infrastructure is divided up into regions, like around the world. And then those regions have different availability zones, which are different data centers within those regions, and they're spread out. And then what we're doing, we're launching an EC2 instance in one of those availability zones, in one of those data centers, in one of those servers is a little EC2 instance. And in our case, we're running Ubuntu. So what I did was I took my PC and I went and I'm connected to the internet. And then I went and logged in to the Amazon dashboard. And so I made the configurations to select the EC2 service, and then I loaded up Ubuntu on it. So the EC2 service is located somewhere within that like layer upon layer of Amazon, of what the huge network of Amazon AWS is, but somewhere in that is buried my little EC2 instance, Ubuntu. And then it's connected to the internet also. So my PC can connect to that EC2 virtual PC, I'm using air quotes, through SSH to make the connection. So on that EC2 instance, what are we running? Well, we're running two things. One is the dependencies, and the dependencies that we're running, like I said at the beginning, are they're like the packages that are needed before you can install like anything that you're actually going to interact with. So this is like the underlying part of the whole lab. These are like the things that support the lab structure. So we're going to be running Linux. In our case, we're going to be running Ubuntu. We're going to be running the Apache package, which is just an HTTP service that makes HTTP code available. We're going to be running MySQL, which is a database that many websites use. And we're going to be running PHP, which is a language that websites use. So this is like the basis, and like I should say, this is like the basis of what most websites use. So why do we need these dependencies? Well, we want to be running these three applications that we can interact with and use to pen test. So one of those applications is DVWA, and it's like a web-based lab that you can, when you connect to the EC2 instance through the browser, this lab will pop up. We want to install SQLi, which is like another lab that is specializing in SQL injection. And then we want to have Multilidae running, which is another web-based lab. So this is just a general overview of how of what is on the machine. So like everything you see on the screen is going to be somewhere on the machine. The left-hand side has to be installed first, and then the right-hand side is installed second. And the right-hand side is like what the user interacts with, and the left-hand side is just basically what runs underneath all the flashy labs. So the first thing we're going to do, at this point, to catch up after the end of the first video, we've already SSH'd into our EC2 instance. So we have a terminal open and it's connected. We want to install a package on it, and then we want to jump back to Amazon, and we want to open the security groups panel. And when we open security groups, we can add like ports that the security groups recognize and will allow to be open. And that's all the configuration we're doing in Amazon for this video. Like once we configure that, then we're done with the AWS dashboard. And then to confirm it, we want to log on to the website that we're hosting in the EC2 instance and confirm that the Apache is working. So let's get into the demo. Here we are in the terminal. The first command is apt install Apache 2. And it installs. I really like Linux. It's a really simple system, and it's easy to work with. And I'm happy that this Amazon EC2 is like launching Linux instances. It allows us to do a lot. It's very powerful, and it makes sense because we're just SSHing in there. So all we really need is the command line. Once you have command line, you can do all kinds of stuff. So we let that install. Then once the Apache package is installed, we go back to our Amazon dashboard. So this is just the instances, right? The instances menu of the EC2 service. So you want to click on the instance ID, and you want to scroll down here to these tabs that are underneath the instance, and you got this like list of rules. And what we want to do is we want to add a new rule to this. So once you get on your security tab, click on the security groups, and then this menu will pop up, and you'll see this button right here that allows you to edit the security group or the rules within that security group. So you click edit inbound rules. You want to add a rule. We don't want to do. We already have SSH, and we need that so we can SSH into it, and that's standard to all EC2 instances. So the second rule, we go right below it and we open up the menu and we want to find HTTP, and it already configures port 80, so we're good there. And see how these are 000/0. You want to do the same in this box. So the first one on the top, 000/0, and you're done. So we save it, and then if you go back down to inbound rules, you have port 80 back on there, right? So port 80 is open, which is the internet port, and port 80 needs to be open so Amazon or not Amazon. Port 80 needs to be open so that the Apache package can get accessed. So now I want to go back to the instances, and I want to get the address of our instance. So this is how you connect to the instance. So let's copy that and let's paste it in here. And there you go. There's a confirmation that through the web we've opened up port 80 and we're able to now see the HTTP code that is hosted on the computer. So let's see what the next step is. Now we want to install MySQL server. That's the M in LAMP stack. So apt install MySQL-server. Now let's do that real quick. And this is a big one. We're gonna install this beautiful database that'll allow us to store users and start a social network maybe, and store all their passwords and have the users log in, and we can have a whole community. So that's installed. That was the MySQL. Now let's see what the next step is. We want to install PHP. To install PHP, we type in apt install PHP 7.2. Now let's go back to the terminal. Apt install PHP 7.2. Yes. Yeah, this machine's getting pretty robust. We're starting to layer in all the tools, and now it's going to start to get useful. So we got finished with the PHP install. So let's see what we got next. So now we want to configure MySQL, and we want to configure PHP also. So to configure MySQL, you type in this command, mysql-u space root-p, and after you do that, it's going to bring up like MySQL command line that's like just for the MySQL, and then we're going to put in this grant all privileges command in there, and then we're going to flush the privileges after that, and that's how you configure MySQL. And then to configure PHP, you have to install a package called PHP myadmin. So let's go back to the terminal. Type in mysql-u root-p we have MySQL. Now, I have it already here, so I'm going to copy and paste it. And I should say these commands I got from the blog. And the blog, if you want to know, is if you want to read it, and maybe you already are, is the link is in the description of the video. So, and the blog has all the commands that you need. I gotta change the username to Ubuntu, and the password is 123. Put that through. The next command is flush privileges. Flush privileges. And we have successfully configured our MySQL. So exit out of here. Now we want to apt install my PHP. Wait, what is it? PHP MyAdmin. PHP MyAdmin. And this is going to ask, do you want to continue? Type yes. And this screen is going to pop up. Just make sure Apache 2 is highlighted, and then you hit enter. And it's going to install a little bit more. It's going to stack in that data and get us ready. And then this is going to come up. Configure my PHP admin. Do you want to configure the database? And you hit enter, yes, and it asks you for the password. Put in password 123, confirm 123, and then the install will complete. Thank you for joining us for part 2 of this 3 video series. Just to recap, we installed Apache 2, we went into the dashboard for AWS, we opened up port 80 and we checked that Apache 2 was up and running and hosting. We installed MySQL and we configured MySQL in the terminal. We installed PHP, and then we installed the PHP settings, and we set it to Apache 2, and we set our password and remember the password's 123. In real life, you might want to make it different, but for us, we're making it 123, and that's it for this video 2. Join us next for the next video where we install the actual lab. Hope you enjoyed. Be ethical, be smart about what you're doing, and I'll see you in the next video.